Hi, I'm Elaine from Siliconrepublic and this is the Samsung Glaxay S4. So this is the Samsung Glaxay S4. It's the new flagship model from Samsung. It's got a 5-inch screen, so it's ever so slightly larger than the S3, but the actual form factor is slightly smaller. It's thinner on the side, it's 7.9 millimeters. The S3 would have been 8.6. And it's got this new polycarbonate casing, but it's not like the Lumia models that have kind of a matte casing. It's still glossy, and it's got this kind of texturized design and these raised letters on the background. So it's pretty sleek looking in design. The specifications on this model, it's a Super AMOLED screen. It's got 441 ppi, so the pixel density is a bit stronger. On the previous model it would have been 306. It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM, so that's double what you would have gotten on the S3. It runs Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean, and with that you get things like Google Now, which will give you these cards. It kind of tries to anticipate what you're going to search for, and you can get new apps like Google Keep, which is Google's new note-taking app. The drop-down notifications menu, again like what they did with the S3, they've given you a series of options to just tap on or off across here. And you'll see a bunch of new technologies highlighted here. You've got things like Air View and Air Gesture, Smart Stay, Smart Scroll. Your NFC can be switched on and off here, and your S-Beam, which is an Android app that makes use of the NFC chip. And things like multi-window. If I switch on multi-window here and go back to the home screen, you see a little tab that shows up here. And I can make this jump out. So say if I start up Chrome and I want to use Chrome, but I also want to have my Gmail open on the same screen. I just drag that down there, and I can adjust this to be super small, or I can make Chrome really small. And you can also make use of a pop-out video player when you're multitasking. So if I choose a video to play from my gallery, so if I just press play on this video and bring up the video menu, this little button here will launch a pop-up video. And then that means I can exit out of that app, and that video will continue to play as I open up any other apps that I want to use. And that means that you can have split screen apps running while you have the video player, so you can have a lot going on your screen at one time. Going back into the video mode, I've enabled something called Smart Stay, which is why the video is pausing right now, because I'm not looking directly at the screen. And then if I angle it back towards my face, it'll play again. The Smart Pause function doesn't just work in the native video player, it will also work in your YouTube video player. The phone is essentially watching you through a sensor, and that's what this little icon here means when that's activated. So if it can see you, it will continue to keep the screen on or keep the videos playing. If it can't see you, it will switch the screen off after it's assigned standby time, and it will pause the video. And these are settings that can be adjusted by yourself for your own preferences. Also in the notifications menu, you'll see the settings cog. So this will bring you straight into the settings menu, which has been divided up into categories, because as the phones become more advanced, we've got more settings to toy around with. It does become a bit more difficult to find what you're looking for. You'll also see under the My Device category, home screen mode. Keeping in mind that some users might not be used to the number of features that you find on a phone like the S4. There's an easy mode that will change your home screen to something a lot more simplified. This is for people who are completely new to smartphones but have jumped straight in with a flagship model like this. The camera on the S4 is a 13 megapixel rear camera, and you've got a 2 megapixel front facing camera. You've got a bunch of new modes to try out in this device, and they're really easy to switch through, and each mode will give you an example of what that's actually going to produce. And one that I'm going to just try here is called Animated Photo. So what this will do is it will record a few seconds of kind of like video footage, and then what you can do is turn this into basically an animated image. So what I can do now, I can rub the screen to animate or freeze specific objects. What I can do here is select what parts of the image to animate or to freeze. So you can see this whole area has been selected already for animation because the camera detected that these areas were moving. So I'm going to select freeze here, and I'm going to stop my thumb from moving in this image. And what I can also do here is I can change the direction of the animation, so you can kind of play it in reverse. You get kind of a freakier feel then. So I'm going to save this. And we're going to go into the gallery and play it back. So you can see it's not seamless because I kind of moved the camera as I was trying to do this by myself, but you can get a good idea of how this kind of thing works. Other modes that you've got on the camera are sound and shot, which will record an image and 9 seconds of background sound to go along with that. And you've also got best face. So this is a photograph that we took earlier using best face. It takes 5 shots in a row, and what I can do is I can select a different face from each of those 5 shots, but I can mix and match the faces, so I can take my 4th shot here and we can change Luke's face to his 5th shot, and we can get a pretty hideous photograph, or we can go back and have a quite nice photograph. And you can just play around and pick whatever shots that you want. Another photo mode you can use is called eraser. And again, this will take a series of 5 photographs, but if anything is moving in the background, it will be able to delete that from the image. So you can see the ball has been completely removed from this image. It's not even resting behind our little zombie guy. But we can add it back in again if we want to by just tapping the highlighted area, and it will be restored to the image. Or we can tap the moving image and it will be deleted. Going back through some other images that we shot, having some fun with the different modes that you can play with. There's a mode called drama, which will take an action shot, but it will actually take a sequence of shots, and you can choose which parts to include all in one image. So we have our cameraman Luke jumping, but we have him jumping, mid-jump and landing, all in the one shot. Overall, I'd say that the camera is quite high quality. Its auto settings will serve you quite well, but you can have a lot of fun with the different modes that are available there. It can also take up to 20 shots at once, which is quite powerful for a smartphone camera. And there's a separate burst mode that will take 8 shots as well. And I mean, if you're taking high action shots, you are going to get a bit of blur because it's not a professional camera, but it does a really good job of minimizing that. What you can also do with the S4 camera is take dual shots. So this is me and this is what I'm seeing. And this can be enabled when you're making a video call as well. You can also change how this is framed. So I've just got a basic split screen here, but I can do some really cheesy stuff and give myself a blurry headshot, or you can make it look like a Polaroid picture, or you can just have a window of just this is basically what the front facing camera sees, and this here is what the rear facing camera sees. Both the front and rear cameras shoot 1080p video at 30 frames per second, so you're getting really quality video and photographs from both, I would say. Even though the front camera is only 2 megapixels, it does have a lot of clarity in there. And the last thing I'm just going to show you with the camera is voice controls. So you can see I'm not anywhere near the shutter button, but I'm going to say cheese, and there we have a photo taken. This will also work if I say smile, capture, or shoot. Another handy app that you get with the S4, which will be useful when you're on your travels, is the S Translator. So I can say something in English, it will recognize what I've said and should translate that into Spanish for me. So you see it's picked up what I've said and it's translated it, and if I want to hear how it's said. Diga algo en inglés. And this can work in a range of languages, as well as the smart pause, smart stay functions. You also have smart scroll, which I have enabled here. This means that if I am in the native browser, it doesn't actually work in the Chrome browser, unfortunately. I can scroll using my eyes, so I'm just going to align myself so that I'm looking directly at the screen. You can see the indicator just lit up there. So I'm looking down. I've stopped. I'm going to look up now. And this can work as I did earlier, where I tilted the device away from my face or towards my face. So I'm going to tilt, and that's how we can scroll. Another function you can enable is air gestures and air view, So I'm going to show you how they work now. If I go into the gallery and I want to go through the 20 photos of our zombie that we shot earlier, I can swipe through using my hand in this way. It will work on other apps as well. So say if I want to play a song here, and once I'm in the now playing window of the music player, that's this window here, I can just swipe to go through songs. Another good gesture that you can use with Air Gestures is if the screen is in standby mode, you do have LEDs up the top here that will let you know if you have any unread notifications. But say if you've just got your phone lying on your desk and you just want to have a quick look at what's happening with it, you just swipe your hand across the front of it and you'll get this screen here. These sensors can also detect how close your fingers are to the screen. So if you see, if I go back to the launch screen or the lock screen, this little light here is actually following my finger. So you can use it to preview your albums. It may not seem that useful in the gallery, but when you're working with something like your emails, what this will do is it'll actually give you previews of the context of your emails. It's really useful. For users who might have sight problems, this can also be used to magnify sections of a web page. So if I go back to the web here, I can hover and it will give me a nice big view of the text. What you've got with the S4 is a 2600 milliamp battery, so it's quite a bit bigger than the 2100 milliamp battery that you got with the S3. Unfortunately, what you're talking about with all these technologies running in the background, like your smart stay and Air Gestures and all this kind of thing, they are going to affect how long your battery lasts. You do have a power saving mode, which I've always found very useful with any smartphone that I've ever used. It basically will power off the screen a little bit faster, but as long as you're active, it will keep working to its full display quality. But it will make a huge difference in your battery control. The battery on the S4, I wouldn't say it's as good as the S3 in my experience so far, but it is. You should get a full day's use as long as you're not doing anything battery intensive like filming video all day or watching video all day. And that's it. That's the Samsung Galaxy S4.